Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm giving this computer away. Watch the rest of the video to find out how to win. This is a Dell Optiplex 9020. It has a 4th generation i5 processor with integrated graphics, 8 gigs of DDR3 memory, and a 7200 RPM 500GB hard drive. Let's transform this into a gaming machine. It has some basic ports in the back, but most importantly, it allows for a GPU to be added. Let's get started. I love this simple but genius case design. To take the side panel off, all you have to do is lift the lever and it pulls right off. No screws, no hassle. Alright, let's flip this over and take a look inside. I knew that the power supply included in the machine was probably not going to be enough for me to add a GPU. What I didn't know was that this motherboard would use a 8-pin connector to power the motherboard instead of the 24-pin connectors we're used to seeing. You can't see it here, but it also had the power going to the hard drive from the board instead of the power supply itself, which is a little interesting. Oh, and before I forget, I guess someone opened this PC up and left a price tag in there. Always fun opening up old PCs. You never know what you'll find in there. So to get started, let's remove the existing power supply. With my injured hand, this was actually quite a bit of struggle, and it was really painful. You'll see me struggling with screws this entire video. After removing the screws that were holding the power supply into place, we just press the blue tab and slide the power supply out. As you can see, it was a bronze rated 290 watt power supply. My replacement power supply had the 24-pin motherboard connector, and that wasn't going to work. So I looked up and I prayed to Bill Gates. And luckily, a 24-pin to 8-pin converter fell from the sky, or from Amazon. Before moving any further, I just wanted to check if Bill Gates sent me the right connector. It fits. We can keep building. I was going to add a new 2.5-inch SSD until I realized the hard drive in here was actually a 7200 RPM. Since this is a budget build, I thought I could put the money on the GPU. Installing the power supply was easy since all I had to do was do the opposite steps as removing the previous one. Just slide it into place until it's clicked and then secure it into place using the 4 screws that we removed from the previous power supply. As you can see, I struggle with the screws. Let me know how many times you guys see me drop the screws before getting it right. My dominant hand is the one that's injured, and I can't grip anything without feeling sharp pain. Hopefully, your hand is not injured and you can smash that like button. Let's get the power supply cables connected before we install our GPU. First up is the motherboard. We are using a 24-pin to 8-pin adapter Bill Gates sent me. Just install it like any other power supply cable extension. This part was especially painful for me since I had to use a lot of force to get the power supply cable to fully snap into the adapter. Next, let's power up our CPU. The CPU connector was almost right underneath the heatsink. A little tough to get my fat hands in there, but I managed to get it connected after a couple of attempts. Now comes the fun part, our GPU. I wanted to install the RX 580 I showed you guys in a previous video, but unfortunately it was way too big for the case. I guess I will have to keep it for the January giveaway. Wink wink. I ended up having to downsize to its little brother, the RX 480, which was still a very tight fit. I lined up to see which backplates I had to remove. Turns out this was also done without screws. Thanks Dell, I owe you one. Just had to snap back the locking mechanism and get the backplates out. After realizing this card was going to be a struggle to fit in, I had to move some power cables and some SATA cables around or take them out to make room. I'll install those after the card is in. After trying a few times, I was finally able to install it. I thought my problems were behind me, but nope. The power supply cables were actually slightly too short to reach the GPU. Instead of praying to Bill Gates again, I paid my local Micro Center a visit and decided to get an extension cable. By the way, if anyone from Micro Center is watching, please feel free to sponsor me. So I connected the PCIe cable from the power supply to the extension cable and then the other end into the GPU. And that was it. It was a really simple build. We swapped out the power supply and installed a new GPU. After I closed it up and got to benchmarking it with Fortnite, here's what I found. With just the GPU being added, I was getting decent performance. Actually, much better performance than the $400 no GPU PC I built for my mom. On low settings, I was able to get an average FPS of 130. The minimum registered as 0, but I'm not sure why because I certainly didn't notice it while I was playing. But that didn't make me feel good. I had some extra DDR3 memory lying around, so I decided to add in 2 sticks of 4 gigs each. So now we have a total of 16 gigabytes of memory. I played some more and saw the average FPS rise to 132, a very small improvement, and the minimum rise to 35. Again, the difference was not something I noticed playing, so not sure what happened with the previous test giving me 0 for the minimum. I wanted to go just one step further. Since I had already gotten a 2.5-inch SSD, I decided to swap that in for the mechanical hard drive that was in this system. After swapping in the SSD, I ran the test again and was able to get an average FPS of 141 with a minimum FPS of 44. This was a small improvement, but an overall 11 FPS increase on the base benchmark. I lost a recording of me playing Fortnite, so I can't show you, but believe me, that's probably for the better. I am what you would call a noob. Anyways, that's the build. To win this PC, please follow the link in the description. While I can't force you guys to subscribe to the channel in order to compete, it would be much appreciated. I am trying to grow the channel and give back to the community as much as I can. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Let me know what you guys think of the build. For a little less than $300, how do you think the performance turned out? Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.